Welcome home, neighbors.
Welcome home, neighbors.
Hello, neighbors.
We're listening from
Arizona,
Florida,
Maryland, New York, New Jersey,
Indianapolis,
California,
Utah,
Michigan,
Iowa,
Massachusetts,
Georgia, Canada,
Our home resort is
Animal Kingdom,
Polynesian,
Bay Lake Tower,
Old Key West,
Riviera,
Boardwalk,
Alani Resort,
Hilton Head,
Boulder Ridge,
Copper Creek,
Grand Floridian,
Saratoga Springs,
Beach Club,
and Wilderness Lodge.
and you're listening to
and you're listening
You're listening
to
to My
my
DVC Points.
Hey everybody, this is Peter Scheidley and welcome to the DVC Newscast. We are doing episode 131 today and I have a special guest with me. Chad Pennycuff has joined me. Hi Chad.
Hey, welcome newscast folks. How are you guys doing today?
Good. It's good to have you on here. You join us every once in a while and it's always good to see you. I know you're super busy with all the other podcasts, but it's nice to have you on.
Yeah, well, I mean, when we started this show way back at episode 1, we said the news isn't regular. And so we're not going to staff this thing to do like an every Thursday show. And our
Right.
team here isn't going to commit to it. And when news happens, we're going to see who's available and who can do this. And I know you wanted to get a show tonight. And I'm looking at the team chat. And I'm like going, well, I'm still in Orlando for another couple days before I go home for Christmas. So I was like, I'll fill in for you, Pete. Let's jump in and do this.
I appreciate that because I never like talking to myself. I mean, I do it a lot, but not on a podcast. It's not as good.
No, it's not as fun. You don't have anybody to laugh at your jokes or whatever it is that we're going to do, right?
Exactly. This episode is sponsored by the DVC Resale Market, and you know those guys better than anyone. You want to tell us a little bit about them?
Let me come back in and share my screen here. And DVC Resale Market is the world's leader in DVC resales. They sell 60% of the contracts on the market, and they have the absolute best website in all of DVC. I'm sharing this now on the show live on Safari. You can come into buying here, selling, and if you were coming in to sell a contract, everything that you need to do is right here. Get an estimate for your resale. This instant quote thing is a feature they have that they'll buy your contract right away. They'll tell you we're going to buy it at a below market value and it's going to be subject to ROFR. But if you want out fast and you want cash today, that is a cheap way. I'm not going to tell you it's a good deal. They're not going to tell you it's a good deal. They'll tell you to list it and wait for a real buyer to come along with a full price offer.
Of course.
But if you're in a hurry, that's always an option. And then when you're looking over here, this is what separates them. If you come over into the listings tab, it's just a beautiful website with all kinds of filters and drop downs and use shares and research and data, everything. You can click into one of these contracts and see that this one's been reduced. Drive into it. You'll see what the monthly payments would be on Monera. They're a reason why they are the number one resale company out there. And I think it's because of the website, but we'll let you guys decide from that. DVCResaleMarket.com. Let them know you heard about them here on the DVC Newscast.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's great that you could share it like that. That's cool. We have a few news stories this week. I thought they were prime enough that we wanted to get a show in. And the first one here we have, actually, this came out of the condo association meeting last week, and we kind of missed it. We did a show the same day as the condo association. We had a few comments from that. We talked about the Poly Condo Association, but we kind of missed this one, and we wanted to share this because I think a lot of people want to know when the refurbs are coming so that they kind of schedule trips maybe around those, that they maybe don't stay at a resort that is in the middle of a refurb. So I think this is good to share.
Or more importantly to me, Pete, is I want to stay at them right after the refurbs are done.
Exactly, right when they're new, for sure. I tried to catch which ones are having soft goods refurbs, which typically means they're kind of redoing the interior, new flooring, maybe new furniture, but it's not like gutting and starting from scratch. And then the hard goods, when they do a hard goods, it's really, they're renewing the whole thing.
They take it down to the drywall, Pete.
Right, exactly. They shared based on when the refurbs are going to be complete. So for the 2024 timeframe, we're looking at completing the Boardwalk Villas. Now, those started in September of this year, but we would expect that to finish up in 2024. And it'll be about mid-year, probably looking like May or June or something like that. Hilton Head is also scheduled for a full hard goods in the first half of 2024. I know this, from what I hear, well needed at Hilton Head.
Very well needed. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Vero Beach is getting a soft goods, but the rumor is they're still going to be putting in the Murphy beds in the DVC rooms. I would assume the in rooms, which already have 2 queen beds, I would think they're going to stick with that. But I think they're talking about in the DVC rooms where it's just a couch right now, they're going to be replacing that with the Murphy style bed. And then the other one that's going to be starting in 2024, but it's actually going to go for almost a year, so it won't finish until 2025, is Bay Lake Tower is getting their hard goods refurb.
That's well overdue, Pete.
Yes, for sure. And that's looking to, but it is about, again, 14 years is normal. So I think that resort opened, I want to say it was 2010, 2011, something like that.
2009, right? I think. 2009.
So yeah, so it is a little bit overdue, but 14 years would be 2023. So yeah, it's a little bit late.
Them 32-inch LCD TVs in that room, man, they got to go, brother. Like,
I hope they can find a way to make those studios seem a little bit more spacious, because they feel very tiny. So I hope they're going to maybe reconfigure that as well. But that's going to go for like a whole year. And one of the things I read somewhere, it might have been like even on Twitter, was that part of why that one's going to take so long is a lot of the utilities are set up because it's a tower. It's more difficult for them to disconnect the utilities to turn off the water or something to a certain floor when it runs up and down the whole building. So I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what they said.
Ooh, that could be. Yeah.
And then looking into 2025, there's quite a few ones that are also going then. We got a full hard goods at Kidani and Jumbo House at Animal Kingdom, and another resort that really needs that. Copper Creek Wilderness Lodge is going to get a soft goods, but it is going to include the Murphy beds in the studios, and that's good news.
Yay.
And then the Grand California villas are also getting hard goods. This was originally announced that it was going to take place in 2024. They've slid it back, but again, it's well needed. And then Saratoga Springs, the Treehouse Villa specifically, are also going to get a refurb in 2025. Just so people know, I mean, it's a lot of resorts now. There's so many of them. There's almost always going to be something that's going through a refurb, right?
Well, I think we had a delay from COVID, and now all of those excuses are gone.
Yeah.
And I've heard some talk saying, well, it was a budget deal. No. We've been paying into those little war fund chests to get all these things funded for God knows how long.
100%. This is money. We pay our dues, and part of our dues go in to do these replacements, and there should be no excuse why they get delayed. It seems like often they do get delayed a little bit. I know like the Wilderness Lodge one that they recently did, that was late. Again, maybe because of COVID, I don't know, but it feels like because we're paying into this, we should see these every 7 years on the regular.
And they need it too. Let's just be brutally honest. I mean,
oh, for sure.
These are vacation rentals. As much as I love my fellow members that are out there, as a group, we're pretty hard on these rooms. And
yep.
After 7 years, they need it. And I look forward to every one of them. And most of them, that when they get done, I'm exceptionally happy with what I see when they're done. Most of the time. I know Saratoga was a home run. Boulder Ridge was a home run.
For sure. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holly, I didn't mind the old ones, but I kind of like the new ones as well. They're a little bit more fun, a little lighter.
Yeah, I think that was just the soft goods. But yeah, I like how they changed those. I know there's been some complaints about the Boardwalk ones being a little bit monotone. I haven't actually been in one yet. I know I've seen a few complaints about that, but actually the pictures I've seen of it look really nice. And so if people are aware, if you're planning your trip in 2024, especially in 2025, you may want to wait for Bay Lake Tower till late 2025 to try and get one of those redone rooms. Same thing on Animal Kingdom. I'll really be appreciating when that goes through, because I really hope they lighten up those rooms too, because they're still too dark.
They're a little on the dark side. They are a little on the dark side, but let's wrap up this story with a shout out, because I know Mary in our Facebook group did some initial photos of the Boardwalk ones and some feedback and comments in there. So by all means, if you guys stay in one of these new refurb rooms, do the community a favor and drop us a post in the Facebook group with some pictures, because we'd love to see it.
Yep. We got a few comments here. Randy Wiley is saying that Kidani needs some love real soon. That was a little rough. Totally agree with you.
Yep.
Singh also, what do we think the impact on room inventory would be from a larger than normal number of resorts in refurb? I mean, there's always going to be an impact on that individual resort. I think generally the number of rooms they're taking out across the entire inventory, I don't think has a big effect. But I know like at Boardwalk, the recent refurb, they took out almost half the rooms. I mean, they took out the entire Boardwalk wing for several months. So it definitely affects the members at that resort. I would think like at Bay Lake Tower, they would be doing it kind of by floor. There's 14, 15 floors there, something like that with rooms on them.
Yeah, something along those lines.
I would expect they'll take, a couple floors out at a time, which will make it maybe not as noticeable. You could get noise above you or below you. I don't think that's going to be a case where they're going to take out 5 floors at a time, but I could be wrong. But it's going to be 10 to 20% of the inventory. So it definitely affects it because there's still the full number of points people are using.
But all of that's planned. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like, and that's over the course of a year. You're going to have, even if you look at 2025 in Walt Disney World, that's only 4 resorts because the 5th one's in LA. So 4 resorts out of 14 in Walt Disney World going under some type of refurb.
Yeah, and it isn't the whole resort at the same time either. Yeah,
I think that's planned, and I think it's in there, and I don't think we'll notice it too much.
Yep. We got a Facebook user saying, can't wait for the Bay Lake refurb. If you want to share your account with StreamYard, we can see who you are.
That would be StreamYard.com/Facebook, and you can give permissions, and we would know who you were. Let's switch over to something that's a little bit more fun, and Moonlight Magic is back for 2024. I think everybody's going to cheer and scream and holler and yell and be excited about this one, Pete.
Yeah, for sure.
And not only is it back, but this is like the 3rd year in a row. They're dropping the Disneyland one in January right up front really fast. And so next Tuesday, registration opens for that in January. And because there's only the 2 resorts there, they don't do the dual opening windows over in California.
Right. Yeah, they don't.
It's a one-shot window, and there is no you're on-site, you're off-site. It's just a one-shot for everybody to come back in and get the tickets on that one as well. Yep. And I will be trying my best to host Patreon member only. We call it a Moonlight Booking Pact. So for the on-site ones, where we get a bunch of people together in a Microsoft Teams call, and we're sharing screens, and we're doing all of the tricks that we can to get as many opportunities to book that. And we'll just paste each other's member number back and forth in. And like, if I have 2 windows that come up, I'll take my first one for me, and then I'll take the next one for whoever was coming in and needed some help getting a booking. And so far, crossing my fingers, we've been 100% successful. Nobody's been left out.
Yeah, I mean, definitely the best way to do this is get as many windows as possible or many devices as possible to sign up onto.
Every tab you open is a lottery ticket. And
right, exactly.
At 11 a.m. when that opens up, you get assigned a random number.
Right.
And you could get high ones, low ones, whatever. But if you've got 10 of them opened, you've got 10 chances of getting a low one.
Right, exactly.
And that's where we come back in and share tabs and do all of that as well. And so there's always an email that goes out a day ahead or so to the Patreon supporters that come back in and get that link. And so that's always a fun thing.
Yeah, they send out a link for the virtual queue, usually the evening before, so that you can sign up. But the one thing to note is that, and we're not going to go through every single registration date. There's a link on our show notes. But one thing important to note is that the early registration for on-site folks is the same for multiple dates at the same park. So I'll just use the example of Epcot. There's one scheduled for January 25th. There's another one March 1st. Both of those have early registration on January 9th. So that's for people with on-site reservations. If you're not doing that, the registration date is separate for those. The one for Epcot is January 11th for the January 25th date. The one for March 1st is February 15th. So it's about 2 weeks before the actual event date, 2 or 3 weeks normally. So make sure if you get an on-site stay, you make sure to get the right date for that early registration.
Yeah. Other notable thing about this lineup here, Pete, is Magic Kingdom is MIA for the third year in a row.
Yep.
Like since the pandemic, we have not seen a Moonlight Magic at Magic Kingdom, which is kind of sad, right? That's because that park can hold the most people out of all of them. You would get more people in the park and it's everybody's favorite. And I just don't get that. But we do have a couple of Typhoon Lagoon ones that are coming up. And the other thing I'll point out to people as well, if you're used to Walt Disney World Moonlight Magics, California does it completely different. And I'm going to go out on a limb here, Pete, and say they do it much better. Okay. Because in Orlando, you're going to get the vouchers that's good for 1 snack credit on everything. Mm-hmm. For there, you're going to get 2 vouchers worth $15 of food items from any food vendor that's out there. It's like it's a gift card. So what you can do is take your vouchers and go to the popcorn carts that sell the souvenir buckets and turn in 2 coupons and get yourself a $30 souvenir popcorn bucket. And
nice. Yeah.
Yeah. It just really works out much better over there. And I will tell you this though, but they sell the park out to capacity. Like, yeah, it's hard to walk through that park. There's no limited number of people there. It is just packed to the gills with people.
Well, I'm guessing that it must be more expensive for them to rent it out there. And therefore, that's why they only have 1, number 1. And that's probably also why they, rather than doing 2 of them with limited capacity, they just do 1 and say, we're going to pack them in and let as many people come as they want. It still sells out. You know, if you're looking at that, as Chad said, that one is opening up on December 19th. So that is only next Tuesday. So make sure if you want to go to that, you're ready to get registered next week.
Yeah. Other pro tips here as well. If you've got a hotel reservation here in Orlando and it's DVC, it does not cost you to add people to that room. Mm-hmm. And I have found the best advice is to fill your reservation. If you've got a 2-bedroom that sleeps 9 people, put 9 of your MDE friends on the reservation and link them all. Because then you'll be able to get 9 tickets, because we're all the time seeing somebody who's locked out in the community group or somebody like that. So it's always good to help out your neighbors and pass tickets along that way as well. So that's kind of the pro tip that I do. And I've yet to see very many tickets go unused.
Yeah. Marcus Howard put in terrible timing with Moonlight Magic, 6 trips in 2 years and yet to link up with participating dates. I feel you, Marcus. We went 4 times in 2022, and I think we're 5 times in 2023. We did trip into a Typhoon Lagoon one, but it poured. In fact, we had a ticket for Chad, and Chad was like, nah, I'm not coming. And I totally don't blame him. It was awful.
Yeah. We had the typhoon that night as well.
Yeah, we had a good time. Early on, it was raining really hard and there was lightning around, and we were kind of like, I can't believe they're still having this. But it did calm down later on, so we did have a little bit of fun with it, but it was not the best.
Yeah, so they'll still hold it in the rain. They'll hold it in the lightning. They just won't let you in any of the water while it's lightning.
Well, they didn't stop us from any of the rides while the lightning was around. That's what I was surprised about.
Yeah, so normally the lightning had to be like 7 or 8 miles away. They've got a radar and all the pool people keep track of that. So they will pull you out of any pool. It must have been
too far away, but it didn't feel like it was that far away when it was at its worst.
And typically, Pete, Moonlight Magic at Typhoon Lagoon is the easiest to get as well.
Yeah.
And my family went as well on another one of those nights when they were down here.
Yeah.
They're now water park people, and they had a blast. They had an absolute blast because they can only do these at Typhoon because Blizzard Beach does not have lights to support the night activities. Yeah. And Typhoon Lagoon does. That's where they do the H2O glow nights.
Right.
And it is a darn near identical party to H2O glow nights.
100%.
And we get it for free as DVC members. So it's an amazing thing. And we should be thanking DVC for putting these on because it's a great perk and a great membership.
No, they are great. My only comment would be I don't think I would necessarily make a special trip down just to get one, because they are great, but it is only, 3 hours. It's not something I would plan. I would plan a trip around it, but I'm just saying I wouldn't make a special trip for myself and my family to come down.
See, before I moved to Orlando, I did make special trips. And so I'm going to argue the other side of that. And I know there's some people out there that's listening that's going to go, yes, Chad, I would make a special trip to do this. It's a DVC rite of passage. Like, if you've never done one before, you need to come, because it's the coolest thing that we do. And just to give everybody a little DVC history here, like all the other timeshares in Orlando, you can see those driving by 192, Disney tickets, $60. And what they're doing is they're roping you into a timeshare pitch, and your reward for sitting through the pitch and hopefully saying no, 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 no to those garbage timeshares is you get Disney tickets for $60.
Right.
Okay. So other timeshares are giving you day tickets to get into Disney, and DVC has kind of flipped the script here. And they said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to come back in and we're going to rent the entire park out a few nights a year.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not going to give it to prospective people. We're going to give it to our members who actually bought this.
Yeah.
And we're going to get them to go out there posting on social media how awesome our timeshare is. And the marketing strategy is phenomenal, and it works, and members love it. And I hope the sales thing keeps working out for DVC, because this is such an awesome thing.
Oh yeah, it is. And as I said, I would, if I was planning a trip and I saw one and I could plan my trip around it, I would definitely plan a trip around it. I'm just saying I wouldn't just fly down for one.
But where I would, and I would encourage everybody to, if it's on your bucket list, like flights to Orlando these days are dirt cheap, because these are all in the off-season peak.
Well, this is true. Yeah.
None of these are in, and they're all usually like a Tuesday or a Wednesday night.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you can fly in that day and fly back the next day and take, 2 half days off work, or the next day off work, and pull this off and make this happen, by all means do it. I mean, Spirit's got some dirt cheap $40 each way flights that I'm seeing on their website now. So,
oh, wow.
I'm saying, hey man, if you can pull this off, with some last minute airfare, dirt cheap airfare, and get in, come on down. You're going to have a great time.
You will have a great time at them. That 100 on that. Yeah.
The rare character meets alone, or if you're a character person, that's it. You know what I'm saying? It's those of us with annual passes that come quite often. The rides are the rides, but we don't need that. Right.
Right.
It's more of the DVC member thing, and hanging out with your peeps who are DVC members. So that's what I enjoy about it most.
Yep.
But I guess I'm a little bit more DVC members are my peeps than most people, hence the whole podcast community show thing. But
no, I get it. I get it for sure. So moving on to our next story, and these are more paid events, but Disneyland After Dark events are returning. And Disney has announced a new round of Disney After Dark, which is basically what they call the after hours events in Disneyland. And all these events are in the Disneyland park. They're not at California Adventure. They're in the Disneyland park. They run from 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. So they're 4 hours long. They also allow early entry at 6 p.m. So actually you get 7 hours for it. There are no discounts for DVC members, but there's a whole bunch of dates in the spring here. There's 4 different ones they announced. They only put details really behind the first 2. So there's a Sweethearts Night, there's 9 dates in January and February. Tickets are $139 per guest, and they go on sale December 14th, which is tomorrow. But they're going to have a number of different things. I didn't list everything here, but they're going to have a royal cavalcade that'll make its way through Disneyland Park. They will have Near Small World. There's going to be a dance along with the princesses, and Disney characters at the evening's royal ball. Stitch and Angel will host their very own dance party in Tomorrowland. And there will also be character greets, photo ops, and sweet treats throughout the park. So that is in January and February. You can see all those dates in our show notes or on the Disneyland website. Then This one to me looks like, even though I didn't grow up as a Disney Channel kid, I'm too old. They're having a Disney Channel night on March 5th and March 7th. It's also $139 per guest. It also goes on sale on December 14th. And there is going to be a High School Musical pep rally that will take place through the streets of the park. Phineas and Ferb dance party in Tomorrowland complete with a DJ and appearance by your favorite Phineas and Ferb characters, which I would assume would mean also Perry the Platypus. Camp Rock karaoke will allow you to sing favorite songs, and the Ultimate Disney Channel Trivia Challenge will test true Disney Channel fans in the Golden Horseshoe. There's going to be a Descendants or the Rivers of America, which will invite you to take a cruise and enjoy the music from the Descendants trilogy. I would assume they might have some characters there too. And there's also a lot of photo backdrops throughout the park, which includes different Disney Channel shows such as Lizzie McGuire, the Cheetah Girls, Teen Beach Movie, and more, which will make you a star. And I thought that sounds just like very different, something very different. And you know
what I call this, Pete? This is the money grab for a party when we don't have a holiday that's worth having a party or a traditional party around. We can't pin like Not So Scary, or we can't pin Mickey's and Minnie's Christmas party or the Oogie Boogie Bash. So we're going to create something around Valentine's Day and drum up some stuff. And then because March really has nothing going on, I guess they didn't want to do a St. Patrick's Day themed deal. They come up with Disney Channel night, right? It's to me, this is just like, how can we rent out the park, do some more money grab, and throw out a couple of special characters?
It is, but like to me, $139 is not terrible. I mean, I look at the Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, and a lot of those dates are approaching $200 a night. And, these at $139, I don't think that's too bad. If you live out there and you don't have an annual pass and you're going to buy a day ticket anyways, I mean, $139.
I was going to say, without
hours.
an annual pass, and if they're going to let you in at 5 or 6 for this party that starts at 9, and you can get 8 or 9 hours in the park for $139,
yeah,
that's not a bad gig. Okay,
no, that's what I'm saying.
For those without an annual pass, right? For those with an annual pass, like it's maybe.
Well, and that's the same way I feel in Florida. I come down with an annual pass a lot, and why am I paying $200 for Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party when my annual pass gives me like $30 a day by the time I've gone 26 days or whatever? That's why I have a hard time doing the hard ticket events in Florida. But there's still a lot of people out there that probably don't have that, or if there's something they really like. And we should also mention the last 2 events. They're having Star Wars nights, and they did Star Wars nights last year too. And there's 7-8 of those dates, which start at $159, so a little more expensive. And then they're also doing 2 Pride nights for the Disneyland After Dark, which are going to be June 18th and 20th. And I know those are very popular as well. So they have not announced details or when those go on sale yet, but they will be available if folks want to go to those.
Yeah, what's shocking to me here is there's no May the 5th. Like, you could have charged an arm and a leg to Star Wars fans for May the 5th. So I'm not sure what's up with that night.
And
but
they did that last year. So when they had the party last year, there was one on May the 4th, right?
Yeah, May the 4th. May the
4th.
Right.
Yeah. It's May the 2nd and May the 7th. So I have to say, when I looked at the ones last year, I wasn't super impressed with the Star Wars night, because it was just kind of like, you can ride Rise of the Resistance, and you can ride, and I'm like, I can ride those anyway. I don't need to go to the extra party. We'll see what they announce for those. But as I said, I wasn't super impressed with the Star Wars night offerings last year when I saw it.
I don't know. I'm a little partied out myself, and I'm with you. I just refuse to go to them here in Orlando and part with an extra $100 and something bucks. And
yeah, they're expensive.
Yeah, they are. And the biggest thing as a local that annoys me is it throws off the fireworks time that night. So it's like the fireworks time shift for the parties. And I'm like, I never know when I'm going to be hearing the boom, boom, boom from the house. Yeah, but that's like, third world problems, right?
Yeah, for sure. We have another story. Well, actually, this is just a summary of ride refurbs and just a couple that folks may want to know about. 2 things in Disneyland. One, Haunted Mansion is going to be closing on January 21st of 2024. Normally it closes to take down the Nightmare Before Christmas decorations, but in this case they're going to be expanding the queue area and they're going to have a new store and everything. So it looks like they're going to be closing Haunted Mansion for an extended period, and no opening date has been announced. So no one's sure how long that's going to be. I wouldn't think they do things so much faster in Disneyland though. I'm kind of guessing it'll reopen by summer. That's my bet. If I had to bet,
I don't think they can keep Haunted Mansion down that long, Pete. That's a marquee signature thing in Disneyland. Like it's good here, but like over there, I think it's even more over there because of all of the holiday overlays that we get. And it's a people eater. I don't know that they can keep that down long.
Well, and you got to consider that in that corner of the park, they already have Splash Mountain down right next to it.
Mm-hmm.
So keeping both of those down is really going to affect that corner of the park in terms of being able to absorb people. I mean, you still got Pirates over there, but that's really it, so.
In the path to Galaxy's Edge, which is a long way in, right? It's definitely a long way in there. Which
is a long route when you're going to walk by Haunted Mansion and Splash Mountain and they're all close. Oh, you got Pooh over there, right? That'll suck up the crowds. He said ironically.
Yeah, no, don't see that happening.
And then also Blue Bayou Restaurant will be closing for a short refurbishment on January 7th and reopening on January 20th. Probably doesn't affect too many people here. In addition, at Animal Kingdom, January 8th will be the closing date for Kali River Rapids. They pretty much close every winter for about a month. They have not shared a reopening date yet, but...
And spoiler alert, it's usually too cold in January to get wet here.
Yeah,
I'm just saying. Like,
no, that's why they do it. I honestly wonder if they really do that much refurb. I think they just close it because it doesn't pay to have a ride that no one's going to ride on because the weather's too cold. But I think they usually reopen it by like President's Week. So usually by mid-February it's back open. But
the park hits capacity at Valentine's weekend, and then the Run Disney weekend that follows Valentine's Day every year. So
it's a busy week.
It's a busy week. They know they need to have their stuff up.
And then lastly, I just saw this today, Big Thunder Mountain at Magic Kingdom will be closing for a very short refurb on January 16th, and it's expected to reopen on January 21st. So that's 5 days that it'll be closed. But if your trip falls between those dates, it looks like you might miss out on Big Thunder Mountain. Last thing we want to talk about is the cabins.
We just got an email today on this.
An email and a link to a website for the cabins at Fort Wilderness was opened up. And Chad, you dug some information out of this that I did not catch.
Yeah. So if I'm zoomed in tight into this email because we only found this in the email. We did not see this in the website, but check out this text right here that I'm highlighting. Membership requires purchasing a deeded ownership interest at the cabins, blah, 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 that expires January 31st, 2075, which is typically priced at $22,700 to $60,100. I read that and I bet they're putting 100-point minimum on here.
Mm-hmm.
And that means these things are going to open up at $227 a point. That's what I deducted from that statement. And that is now my official prediction is 227.
And we have some evidence to back that up because they did a very similar thing with the Disneyland Hotel where they sent out an email and it was $23,700 and the price opened at $237. Do you think there's any significance to the high end of that range? So if you assume the low end of the range is 100 points, the high end would be 265 points. And I think that's a weird choice for a high end of the range, unless that's like, I was wondering, does that mean that's like a week?
I would say that's like the high average of points sold at a place would be 265. Okay. And because they'll sell you as many points as you want. If you want 1,000 points, they'll sell it to you. Like I don't know why you'd want 1,000 points over at the cabins when the only thing that we know of is these trailers that are called one bedrooms.
Yeah.
That when you look at the photos thereof and inside the one bedroom, let's see, did I see it in the email? No, I saw it on the webpage, but I saw a photo of the inside of the cabins but it was an inside of the bedroom. And in the same bedroom, you had the queen bed and the 2 kids' bunk beds inside the same bedroom. And I'm like, doors are a beautiful thing. Like, that's the wrong spot for that door.
It's a 1-bedroom unit that sleeps 6. So the way they did it is they put 4 in the bedroom, a queen bed, as you said, and 2 bunk beds. And then the one photo you did show there, the other area, right, which is kind of the kitchen area, and that clearly has a pull down on it. I'm not sure where that photo was. Oh, there's that picture of the
There
bed.
it is.
Yeah, it's kind of small. So that's a bedroom, right? There's a queen size bed, and then there's 2 bunk beds right next to it. And then the living room area, there is a fold down Murphy style bed, and then a kitchen. I mean, these are not huge rooms, right? You're not staying at the Copper Creek cabins here. It's more spacious than a studio, but I think it's maybe a little bigger than a normal 1-bedroom, but not by much.
I'm looking at it and I'm just going, that bedroom, I'm just out. You know what I'm saying? I'm just out. Like,
you don't want the kids hanging over you while you sleep?
No. I think them having bunk beds is cool. And the kids and the small kids will be digging that, because my kids are 10 and 11 and they'll still fight over who gets the top bunk, right?
Who doesn't love a bunk bed? I still love the idea of it. I don't want to climb up there anymore, but
yeah, it's cool. It's fun, but I'm glad we found that photo, because that's what I thought when I saw that. And
yeah,
the other thing, just looking at this photo here, Pete, it feels mobile home-ish to me. Like I can't get around that. Like it's prefab, wheel them in. It looks like you've even got the skirting underneath them for all of that. I'm like, DVC in a mobile home park. I'm not ready for that. I'm just not. I'm struggling here, Pete. And I don't want to be disrespectful to anybody who owns mobile homes or lives in a mobile home or anything like that. It's just, I'm just struggling with DVC taking it here.
Right. At the price you pay for DVC to stay in this, that'll probably cost you, we don't know, but let's say it starts at 150 points a week. To have a $30,000 to $50,000 investment to stay in a mobile home, I could buy a mobile home for that, not have a week in a mobile home.
You could buy one right down the road here. Okay. It's like a stone's throw from Kidani Village. They're right there, right off 192.
Yeah. So I could have it. I could have it 52 weeks a year versus 1 week a year. I'm sure they're nicer than a typical mobile home. It doesn't scream luxury to me, which is how they're selling it.
And again, I've learned I do not go off the artist rendering. I try to withhold judgment on that, because I know everybody is like ripping up the Poly Tower, and I have a little bit more faith in Disney than that. Maybe I'll eat my words on that. I didn't care for the artwork for Riviera, and it was much nicer when I got in it than I thought it would be. I did not care for the artwork for Villas at Disneyland Hotel, and it was much nicer once I got into it. And so I'm going to let DVC do what they do and beat my expectations once again. Yeah. I'm hoping that is true, but we'll see.
Yeah. And Marcus just noted $165 per point at Grand Floridian looks great compared to these 220 plus for the Fort Wilderness cabins. I know there's a market for these cabins. There's people that love these cabins, and the price for them, they were frequently, they sell out. They were priced at $500, $600 a night. So people were paying for them, but I just don't know if people will pay, as I say, pay $30,000, $40,000 up front. Plus I gotta imagine the maintenance fees might be lower than a lot of the other resorts.
Well, they're standalone buildings, so you don't get the heating and cooling benefits of like Bay Lake Tower, where it's a tower and they're on top of each other.
That's true. I don't know.
These are individually heated and cooled units, so you've got no efficiencies there of that.
I mean, we will see, because it's all public knowledge how these things sell. This is one case where I think the resale restrictions could, if people are aware, could really kill them, because can you imagine buying, like, it's one thing to be like, okay, I'm at Riviera. That's the only place I can go to. Riviera is gorgeous. It's on the Skyliner. I can get to two parks really easily. But, you know, the only place I can stay at is Fort Wilderness.
You've got options at Riviera. As your
Right.
family grows and situation changes, you can scale up and down from the duo pod studios to the 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, grand villas. You've got options. Here, it's like, didn't we learn anything from Poly when it was all studios and bungalows? You're building a whole tower to fix and remedy that situation. And now you're like starting a new project and you're jumping right back into that soup.
Yeah.
I just don't understand this. It's not making sense to me, Pete.
I want to give them a little benefit of the doubt to see what they price the points per night at. The way they price points per night nowadays, I think it's going to be too high, and it's going to turn a lot of I don't know. We'll see.
My prediction is the point charts will be slightly less than a 2-bedroom at Copper Creek and Boulder Ridge.
And if that's the case, that's ridiculous.
That is my official prediction on this, Pete. Is it's going to be more than their 1 bedrooms, but less than the 2 bedrooms there. Because you can fit a 6-person in there. You probably have a little more square footage. You've got your own parking spot right outside.
To me, if I was going to price it, it would be barely more than the average 1 bedroom. If you do this near the 2-bedroom level, this is not a 2-bedroom. I 100% would stay at every other resort in a 2-bedroom before I would stay in one of these at the same point price. Emily's chiming in. She says, plus the insurance on a mobile home. Yeah, I guess that could be a problem. You're going to have tornadoes going through there, right? But we love the fort and would stay if the points are between a studio and a 1-bedroom, but I think you are right. Yeah, exactly. As I said, I think if you put this at a 1-bedroom level, it could be popular. I just worry what they're going to do. I'm with you, Chad. I think it's going to be closer to 2-bedroom. I'm guessing a lot of direct DVC buyers finance, and Disney will highlight the monthly payment to finance.
Yeah, that's a given.
Currently under contract at Boulder, 100% staying at Boulder. I'm assuming that means over this. The other thing that's in my head, Chad, and this would be a different strategy from anything DVC's done in the past. Do they feel like these sold out in cash anyways? Are they just going to put them out as DVC, hope that they gradually sell, and rake in the cash from the day sales? I mean, I know that's not how DVC usually wants things to go, because they want those profit margins up front. That's how timeshares work, profit up front.
Yeah. The other thing I can only hope here, Pete, and this is just a long shot hope, is we're still hearing rumors and rumblings that Reflections or whatever that resort's going to get rethemed to is still going to happen. And if they did this and then built Reflections right after it and made it the same resort condo unit, I would be much more forgiving. Okay. Because then you're going to buy this, then you're going to have like a world of options.
Right.
Because if that thing would have studios, 1-bedrooms, probably some pods, it said it's going to have a couple of different outdoor standalone A-frame units.
Right.
And
The
so
original design,
I think you would have the world of opportunity to go in there and explore. But if this thing is just this and it's got the resale restrictions, it's doomed. Like why would you? And that's the only place you could ever stay. And you have to find a buyer who that's the only place they're ever going to want to stay is 1 unit.
Yeah, that's what I keep thinking is like these will resale for like less than Vero Beach, you know,
which is down to $49 a point right now. So
right. No one's going to want to be, I shouldn't say no one, there'll be some people out there, but not a lot of people are going to want to be locked into this.
Yeah. I mean, this is buy small contracts is all I can tell you, because your only hope for a buyer would be somebody who would buy a 50-pointer, bank and borrow, and stay there every 3 years on resale.
Yeah.
Or every other year.
Yeah, maybe. I still wonder if they're, I know we've been going on for quite a while, but I still wonder if they're going to rescind the
resale
restriction, because there we go. The Poly, they put it in the same association. And to me, what's the only reason you do that? because you know that the resale restrictions hurt your sales. They've done it twice now.
That and to fix the big mess up that was the poly of the point charts, and they can't readdress and lower the cost of those bungalows to get those things to sell. I think when the poly opens up, we're going to see a new point chart with everything rebalanced.
You think so?
I think so. That really is what I think is going to happen there, that the point chart is going to be rebalanced.
I think they could even do it dirtier, and they have an initial point chart that comes out. And then once the place sells out, then they rebalance it to lower the bungalows, because they did that once already. They did that once. They raised the prices on the studios to lower the prices on the bungalows. They've already done that once.
Yeah. So Emily's saying, let's say I have poly points. If I use them there at the 7 month, does Disney essentially get to open up some poly availability for cash? No. It just means you've left availability at the poly for somebody else that owns the cabins direct to come in there, or another resale buyer to come into the poly. Is all that means. That's how you're using your points. Just Bear Stuff's not sure how they would wrap this into reflections. Would that mean sharing of amenities? If so, how would you monitor only the guests at the cabins? Attaching them somehow. That's just my pure speculation and hope that they attach this to another condo association so that those buyers aren't stuck with just being able to do the cabins and that's it. So if that's how it works, I can see this being a place other owners want to try once in a while, and Disney will be happy to sell that availability at a higher price resort. Pete, I'm not going to lie to you. I would look forward to staying there at least once.
Yeah, I definitely want to try it. Yeah.
Being me, I'm going to be gunning for opening day there like I did at Disneyland Tower, because I can now make it, right?
Right.
And I will be there opening day. Whether I'm staying there or not will be another question, but I will definitely be there opening day. Like that is a guaranteed thing, because that's probably about a 25 minute drive from the house at most. And I've got to come down to World Drive and then hook a right to get back over there.
I'm with you on that one, Chad. I do want to stay in these. I mean, for all that we're kind of trashing on them a little bit, which again, we're being a little unfair from renderings, but in the end, they look like nice units if the point price isn't outrageous. And even if it is, I think I would want to maybe at least stay in one for a couple of nights, 2 or 3 nights, just to check it out, because it is something different. I could never see this. I would be very surprised if I liked it so much that I'd be like, oh, I'd rather be here than at Boardwalk. Emily's saying maybe the hardcore pet owners is who they are hoping to snag. It's a good point. They are supposedly, some of the units are supposed to be dog friendly, which there is not any other DVC that is dog friendly. We'll see if that appeals to people. This isn't going on sale probably for another 3 months or so, but I know there's people that stay there every year, love to stay in the cabins, love to camp at Fort Wilderness. It's not what I go to Disney World for, which is primarily for the parks. If I want to just chill out in a woodsy setting, I've got a lot more options that are a lot cheaper.
Yeah, but getting both, Pete, like that's the whole magic of the Copper Creek cabins, is you get both.
Yeah.
You get bougie, you get camping, you get Magic Kingdom, you get Disney, you get it all.
Copper Creek cabins to me is just bougie. I'm not really camping. I know I'm not really camping. So yeah, I don't know.
You're glamping, that's for sure. But you're right there at the water's edge at nature, Pete, and chilling out in that hot tub in the cabins.
I would love to do those one of these days. I don't have, I suppose I have the points to do it, but one of these days, I think there's a higher likelihood I do a Copper Creek cabin.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm with you the same way.
Someday I'll do a night or two in one of those cabins.
I think this is a fair point from Marcus here. He says, to me, DVC is all about the convenience, and this doesn't scream convenience. Yeah. Nothing at Fort Wilderness screams convenice to me.
No, right.
With you're park and ride the bus and blah, 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 blah. No. But hopefully at these cabins, you could park right outside your cabin.
Yeah. To me, DVC is about luxury, Disney luxury at a more reasonable price. Not super reasonable because you're still paying this big buy-in, but once the especially once the buy-in is passed, you're getting Disney luxury for a more reasonable price. And I agree. I don't know. I mean, the cabin can be as luxurious as it wants to be inside, but if I still have to leave the cabin and then walk half a mile to get to the boat for Magic Kingdom and to the buses for the other parks, I don't know. I think Tommy's comment there is great. Yeah. Is the convenience
for me would be the dog-friendly units. So that could be what they're going for there, Tommy, is really the dog friendliness. And Pete, sorry to kind of commandeer the newscast show and make it more live show commentary and interactive here, because I know we're about double your normal length at this point in time.
I know there's going to be less editing this week, Chad.
Yeah, well,
I'm going to go through faster. We'll leave it at that, though. I mean, there was quite a bit of news popped up this week, so it was good that we were able to do a show. I know Shannon isn't feeling well this week, so Shannon, feel better. I know Sue's got some family issues as well going on, so I really appreciate that you were able to come on and join me for the show. And we should thank our sponsors.
Huge shout out of thanks over to World of DVC, including DVC Resale Market, DVC Rental Store. I'll just go through their little logos here. Monera Financial, DVC Rental Store, and DVC Resale Market. Their continued support is what allows us to get this show on and going and actually sustainable after 5 years. And then huge shout out of thanks as well to all of our Patreons as well, because their income pays the actual bills. We do other cool stuff with the sponsor money as well. So
yeah, thank you so much, everybody.
Orders as well.
So with that, we are going to say good night, and thanks everybody for listening.
Thanks everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back as soon as more news drops, and it'll be a completely different cast, because it always is, because that's the way we set up this newscast show to be. Thanks everybody. Have a great night.
Good night.
Ladies and gentlemen, please watch your head and step as you exit, and take small children by the hand.
Aw, chill up, Dad. You know I'll come back. With DVC.
My DVC Points is an unofficial Disney-inspired podcast created by fans of Disney Vacation Club. The thoughts expressed in this podcast are personal opinions and personal experiences. My DVC Points is not affiliated with Disney Vacation Club, the Walt Disney Companies, or any subsidiaries. We encourage listeners to contact their DVC guide or member services for official DVC policies.